My name is Christian. I'm 37. I work in manufacturing commercial refrigeration units. I've been with Gravora Group for 12 years. It's a good job with steady pay. It kept a roof over our heads and then some. When she said those words, I was standing in our bedroom doorway. I just walked in after a long shift. I wanted to say goodnight, maybe put my hand on her shoulder. Nothing more. Just the kind of contact married people have. She didn't even look up from her phone. She just said it, flat, cold. I stood there for a second, waiting for her to laugh or soften it somehow. She didn't. She kept scrolling. I backed out of the room and went downstairs. That was 3 nights ago. It wasn't the first time she'd pulled away. Over the past year, maybe longer, intimacy had become something I had to ask for, beg for really. And even then, it felt like I was bothering her, like I was some stranger making an inappropriate request. I stopped asking months ago. But hearing her say it like that, with that edge, that contempt, it did something to me. It wasn't just rejection. It was dismissal. Like I didn't matter. Like wanting connection with my own wife made me disrespectful. I sat on the couch that night and replayed it. Tried to figure out when things had shifted, when I became the problem, when wanting her became something shameful. We'd been married for 9 years, no kids. She didn't want them. I was fine with that at first. I thought maybe we'd travel, build something together, just enjoy each other. But we didn't travel. We didn't build anything. She just existed in the house I paid for, spent money I earned, and treated me like I was in the way. I thought about the credit card I handed her every time she asked. The one with my name on it, the one she used for everything, groceries, clothes, spa appointments, subscriptions. Some I didn't even know existed until they showed up on the statement. I never questioned it. She was my wife. That's what you do. But sitting there in the dark, staring at nothing, I started questioning it. Because if she had enough self-respect to refuse me, her husband, what did that say about mine? The next morning, she came downstairs in yoga pants and a tank top, hair tied up, already scrolling on her phone. She didn't say good morning. She never did anymore. She poured herself coffee. Then she turned to me. I need your card. I'm meeting Vanessa for brunch. I looked at her. Really looked at her, and I said, no. She blinked. What? I said, no. Her face changed, confusion first, then irritation. Christian, I'm meeting her in an hour. I need to pay. Use your own money. She laughed, not a real laugh, the kind you give when someone says something absurd. I don't have cash on me. Then use your debit card. I don't. She stopped. Her jaw tightened. What is this about? I set my coffee down, kept my voice even. Don't ask for my credit card. I have self-respect, too. Her expression froze for a second. She just stared at me. Then her eyes narrowed. Are you seriously throwing that back at me? I'm not throwing anything. I'm just saying I have self-respect. Same as you. That's completely different. How? She didn't answer. She just grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. I sat there for a minute. Felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. I'd been covering everything for years, mortgage, utilities, car payments, insurance, groceries, her gym membership, her nails, her hair appointments, the subscription boxes that showed up every month, the endless online shopping. She worked part-time at a boutique, 20 hours a week, maybe, bringing home around $800 a month. I never asked what she did with it. Assumed she saved it or spent it on herself. It didn't matter. I handled the real expenses. But lately, I've been looking at the statements, really looking, and the numbers didn't make sense. $300 at a spa I'd never heard of. $500 at a clothing store. Recurring charges for apps and memberships I didn't recognize. A weekend trip to see her sister that somehow cost $2,000. I never said anything. Figured it wasn't worth the fight. She'd just tell me I was being controlling or cheap. So I stayed quiet. But now, sitting in the kitchen, I pulled up the account on my phone and scrolled through the last 6 months. It was worse than I thought. She'd spent over $30,000 in half a year. On what? I couldn't even say. Most of it was just labeled retail, dining, or travel, vague, easy to miss if you weren't paying attention. I'd started paying attention. I thought about her face when I said no, the shock, the anger, like I'd done something unforgivable. I thought about the way she'd looked at me the night before, disgust, distance. And I realized something. She didn't respect me. She never had. She didn't come home until late that afternoon. Walked in with shopping bags, 3 of them, designer logos on the front. I was at the kitchen table with my laptop open, bank statements pulled up. She set the bags down, didn't say a word, went to the fridge, and grabbed a bottle of water. I waited. Finally, she turned around. You embarrassed me today. I didn't look up. How? I had to cancel brunch. Vanessa thinks we're broke now. We're not broke. Then why did you do that? I closed the laptop and looked at her. Because I'm tired. Of what? Of being used. Her face went red. Excuse me. You heard me. I'm not using you, Christian. I'm your wife. Then act like it. She slammed the water bottle on the counter. I do everything for this house. I cook. I clean. I manage everything while you're at work. I almost laughed. You cook maybe twice a week. The rest of the time we order out, or I make something when I get home. And cleaning? You hired someone to do that. Because I'm busy. Doing what? She didn't answer. I stood up, walked over to the counter, pulled out my phone, opened the bank app, and turned it toward her. This is what you spent in the last 6 months, $32,000. She glanced at the screen and shrugged. So? You make good money. That's not the point. Then what is? I put the phone down and looked her in the eyes. The point is you don't respect me. You don't want me. You don't need me for anything except money. And I'm done pretending that's a marriage. Her expression shifted, something between panic and rage. You're being dramatic. Am I? Yes. You're acting like I'm some kind of gold digger. I didn't say that. You're implying it. I shook my head and sat back down. I'm not implying anything. I'm telling you how I feel. And if you can't see it, then maybe that's the problem. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she grabbed the shopping bags and walked upstairs. I heard the bedroom door slam. I sat there in the quiet. Thought about the last 9 years. Tried to remember when things were good, when she looked at me like she wanted me, when we were actually a team. I couldn't remember. Maybe it had never been that way. That night, I slept on the couch. She didn't come down, didn't text, didn't call. And honestly, I didn't care. Something had broken. Not in her, in me. I wasn't going to keep carrying someone who didn't want to walk beside me. The next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, checked my email, acted like everything was normal. She came down around 9 o'clock, hair perfect, makeup done, dressed like she had somewhere important to be. She didn't look at me. She poured coffee, grabbed her phone, and started typing. I waited. After a few minutes, she set the phone down. I need money. I took a sip of my coffee. For what? Does it matter? Yeah, it does. She sighed loudly. I have an appointment. Hair and nails. It's already booked. Cancel it. Her head snapped up. What? Cancel it, or pay for it yourself. She stared at me like I'd just spoken another language. Christian, this is ridiculous. No, what's ridiculous is you spending thousands of dollars every month while treating me like I'm nothing. I don't treat you like nothing. You told me not to touch you. Said you have self-respect, remember? Her face flushed. That was different. How? She stood up and grabbed her purse. Fine, I'll use my own money. Good. She left, slamming the door again. I sat there for a minute. Then I logged into the bank account, changed the password, and froze the credit card she'd been using. It took 30 seconds. I didn't feel guilty. An hour later, my phone rang. Her name on the screen. I answered. What did you do? What are you talking about? The card. It's not working. I know. Why? Because I froze it. Silence. Then her voice, sharp and shaking. You can't do that. I just did. Christian, I'm at the salon. They're waiting. Then pay with your own card. I don't have enough. That's not my problem. She hung up. I set the phone down and finished my coffee. She didn't come home until late. When she walked in, her face was tight, eyes red. She'd been crying. She threw her purse on the couch. You humiliated me. I didn't look up from my laptop. How? I had to leave. Walk out in front of everyone. They all saw. Saw what? That my card didn't work. So it was embarrassing. I closed the laptop and looked at her. You've been embarrassing me for months, maybe years, acting like I'm invisible, like I'm just a wallet. So yeah, now you know how it feels. Her face twisted. This isn't about feelings. This is about you trying to control me. No, this is about you finally having to deal with reality. What reality? That you don't get to treat me like garbage and still have access to everything I work for. She laughed, sharp, bitter. You think this is going to fix things? I'm not trying to fix things. I'm protecting myself. From what? From you. She stared at me. Then she turned and walked upstairs. I heard drawers opening and closing, her voice muffled on the phone. I didn't care. That night, I checked the account again, made sure everything was locked down, moved money into a separate account she didn't have access to, and set up alerts for any unusual activity. I wasn't playing games. I was done being the fool. The next morning, she tried again. Christian, we need to talk about this. About what? This. Us. I looked at her. I'm not doing anything. I'm just not giving you money anymore. That's not fair. Why? Because we're married. Exactly. And married people are supposed to respect each other. You made it clear you don't respect me, so I'm returning the favor. She didn't have an answer. I started digging deeper that weekend, pulled every statement, checked every transaction, traced where the money had been going. What I found made my stomach turn. She'd opened a credit card I didn't know about in her name but linked to our address. The balance was $17,000. Clothes, dinners, hotels. Hotels. I cross-referenced the dates, matched them to her calendar, found gaps, days she said she was visiting her sister or out with friends. I pulled up her social media, scrolled back through the last year. Photos of her at restaurants I'd never been to, bars, lounges, always with the same group, Vanessa, 2 other women I didn't recognize, and men. Different men, smiling, drinks in hand. I felt something cold settle in my chest. I opened her email, I knew the password, she'd never changed it, and found confirmations, spa packages, weekend trips, a 5-star hotel in Nashville, another in Chicago. I checked the dates again. She'd been gone those weekends. Told me she was visiting her mom. I called her mom, casual, just checking in. She hadn't seen her daughter in 6 months. I hung up and sat there in the dark. She'd been lying. For how long? I didn't know. But it was longer than I wanted to admit. I thought about confronting her, throwing it all in her face, making her explain. But what would that do? She'd just deny it, twist it, make me the bad guy for snooping. So I didn't say anything. I just kept preparing. I scheduled a meeting with a divorce attorney, brought all the records, showed him everything. He looked it over and nodded. This is pretty clear-cut. She's been hiding assets, running up debt. If you file, you'll have a strong case for protecting your finances. What about her? What about her? What happens to her? He shrugged. She'll have to figure it out. You're not responsible for her bad decisions. I thanked him and left with a folder full of paperwork. That night, she came home late again, smelling like wine, makeup smudged. She looked at me. What? Nothing. You're staring. Just thinking. About what? About how much longer I want to do this. Her face changed. It softened. She sat down next to me. Christian, I know things have been hard, but we can work on it. We can fix this. I looked at her. Really? Do you even want to? She hesitated, just for a second, but I saw it. Of course I do. Then prove it. How? Stop lying. Her face went pale. I'm not lying. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, grabbed my laptop, opened it, and turned it toward her. I showed her everything, the credit card statement, the hotel bookings, the emails. Her mouth opened and closed. I can explain. Go ahead. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? She didn't answer. I closed the laptop. That's what I thought. She stood up, voice shaking. You went through my email. Yeah, I did. You had no right. You had no right to lie to me for months, but here we are. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Where are you going? Out. To another hotel? She stopped and turned. Screw you, Christian. She left. I stood there in the quiet. Felt something break loose inside me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was done. The next morning, I woke up to missed calls and texts, all from her. We need to talk. I'm sorry. Please don't do this. I didn't respond. Instead, I called the attorney and told him to file. He said it would take a few days. I said that was fine. I went to work, stayed focused, kept my head down. When I got home that night, she was there, sitting on the couch, eyes red. I talked to Vanessa. Okay. She said you're being unreasonable. Did she? Yeah. She said you're punishing me for having a life. I almost laughed. A life. Is that what you call it? What do you call it? Lying, cheating, stealing. Her face went white. I didn't cheat. You stayed in hotels with other people, lied about where you were, spent money we didn't have. What do you call that? It wasn't like that. Then explain it. She didn't. I walked past her, went upstairs, and started packing a bag. She followed. What are you doing? Leaving. You can't. Watch me. Christian, please. I stopped and turned. You don't get to beg now. You had months to be honest, to be a partner, to treat me like I mattered. You didn't. So I'm done. Where are you going? A hotel until I figure things out. You're really doing this? Yeah, I am. She started crying, real tears this time. I'll change. I promise. I don't believe you. Why not? Because you've been lying to me for too long, and I'm not interested in finding out what else you've been hiding. I zipped the bag and walked past her. She grabbed my arm. Please. I pulled away. Didn't look back. I stayed at a hotel near work for 3 nights, cheap, quiet. It gave me time to think. The attorney called and said the papers were ready. I signed them and had them delivered to the house. She called me 20 minutes later, screaming. You're divorcing me? Yeah. Over this. Over everything. Christian, you can't. I hung up and blocked her number. 2 days later, I went back to the house. She wasn't there. I grabbed the rest of my things, clothes, laptop, a few personal items. I left my key on the counter. The attorney called a week later. She's contesting the divorce. On what grounds? She's claiming you abandoned her, that you're financially abusive. I laughed. Couldn't help it. What do we do? We show the judge the evidence, the spending, the lies, the hidden credit card. It'll be fine. How long? A few months, maybe less. Okay. I hung up. Felt lighter than I had in years. She kept trying to reach me, through friends, through her family, even showed up at my work once. I didn't engage. Just kept moving forward. The divorce went through 4 months later. She fought hard, tried to claim half of everything. The judge wasn't impressed. I kept the house, my retirement, my savings. She got the debt she'd hidden and nothing else. I heard she moved in with Vanessa and had to get a full-time job. Couldn't afford the lifestyle she'd built on my back. I didn't feel bad. I felt free. She completely lost her mind when the first bill came due. I wasn't there to see it, but Vanessa called me, angry. She's drowning, Christian. She can't pay anything. Not my problem. She's your wife. Ex-wife. And she should have thought about that before she lied and spent money she didn't have. You're really going to let her suffer? She let me suffer for years. So yeah, I am. Vanessa hung up. I blocked her too. A few weeks later, I ran into someone who knew her. Casual conversation. They mentioned she'd had to sell her car, downgraded, couldn't afford the payments. I nodded, didn't say much. Heard she'd cancelled her gym membership, her subscription boxes, her spa appointments. Everything she'd built on my income was gone, and she had to face it alone. I thought I would feel guilty or sad or something. I didn't. I just felt relieved. One afternoon, I saw her at a grocery store. She was in line, counting out cash for a small bag of items, looking tired, older. She saw me. Her face went hard. I nodded, kept walking, didn't stop. A few months after the divorce finalized, I got a text from an unknown number, "I'm sorry. I was wrong." I stared at it for a minute. Then I deleted it and blocked the number. I didn't need her apology. Didn't want it. What I wanted was peace. And I finally had it. I started dating again. Took my time. No rush. Met someone kind, someone who worked, someone who didn't expect me to carry everything. It was different. Better. I thought about the past sometimes, about how long I let it go on. But I didn't regret leaving. I only regretted not doing it sooner. Months passed. I settled into a routine, work, home, simple. I bought a smaller place, nothing fancy, but it was mine. No debt hanging over me. No one draining my account. No one treating me like I didn't matter. I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved again, a smaller apartment. Struggled to keep up with rent. Had to borrow money from her parents. They weren't happy. Apparently, they finally saw what I'd been dealing with and told her she'd made her bed. She tried reaching out one more time through a mutual friend. Said she wanted closure. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. She'd spent years taking from me, my money, my time, my self-worth. And when I finally stood up for myself, she acted like I was the villain. But I wasn't. I was just a man who got tired of being used. I thought about the night she told me not to touch her, the disgust in her voice, the way she looked at me like I was beneath her. And I thought about the look on her face when the card stopped working, when the money ran out, when she realized I wasn't coming back. That was the moment everything changed. Not for her, for me. I stopped being the guy who stayed quiet, who paid for everything, who accepted being treated like nothing. I became the guy who walked away. And I didn't look back. She faced the consequences of her choices. Lost the lifestyle she'd built on lies. Had to work for everything she wanted. Had to live within her means. It wasn't my job to save her. It never was. I moved on. Built a life I was proud of. Found someone who valued me. And I never doubted the decision. Sometimes the hardest thing you can do is respect yourself enough to walk away.